PSA drilling instructions that utilizes the same factors. Even in the shift drilling instructions, it's much the same, just utilizing the key drilling instructions, right? Steve will talk to you a little bit more about that. But if you notice, the PSA drilling instructions are much the same as is the roto grip. We have a couple of slight changes. Does everybody understand how to utilize the asymmetric drilling instructions using the pin buffers? You've used it and laid them out, used balls. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to draw an arc off the pin first for the distance you want it from the PAP. You're going to make a second arc from the mass bias, and where that arc intersects the first arc, now you have the pin distance you're wanting to create and the mass bias distance. Now the third arc is drawn off of the pin, is how far you want that buffer. Now once you've created that second arc from the pin, you're going to take where your intersection of those axis point and your mass bias is located, and you're going to draw a line up to that pin buffer. Okay, if you'll notice right here in step number 6. This gives us basically our vertical axis line. And from that you can measure down, you can go from that axis point, measure backwards on the axis coordinates back to create the center of grip. There are several methods out there today to lay out bowling balls. I'm not saying this is the absolute way you must lay out a bowling ball. There are other methods to lay out bowling balls. My suggestion to you is whatever method you understand the best that gets the pin and the mass bias in the proper position for that player and a pin distance from the VAL, whichever way you feel necessary. There's some dual angle techniques that are being used today. There's some other techniques based strictly off degree measurements. You make sure that, like I said, this is just another valuable tool to you. If you understand these directions more readily, then this is the one you should use.
Yeah, if you haven't tried it, definitely give it a shot.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we first introduced these, Tyler Jensen, who's a great bowler, one of our sales reps, and was very confident and comfortable with doing different types of layouts and different methods. But once he got familiar with this method, with drawing the arcs and then drawing the line back for the VAL, for him, he's found that it's the simplest, most repeatable. He's most comfortable using it. But he, at first, before he used it, he kind of looked through it and wasn't really sure how to do it. So if you're not familiar with it, say step by step, the instructions are in there, and then see what works best for you. But I think you'll find it's very, very simple, very easy, fast, and accurate too.
Absolutely, very much so. One other thing we did add to this drilling instruction guide versus the storm drilling instruction guide is when you come up with those measurements and you measure back to the center of grip, and then you're going to find out that your gripping holes are going to be somewhere like on the edge of a pin, drilling out the edge of a pin, or really close to the holes. We still recommend that you keep those pins roughly about an inch away from the gripping holes, or you drill right through the center of the pin. So if you make your adjustment based off of that, and it's just slightly adjusting it a little bit. I'm not saying to move it like 3 inches. I'm just saying that you can make slight adjustments to this and still going to get the desired reaction you're looking for. The other thing about it is you notice that there are some basic drillings in here. There are some basic suggested drillings for some bowling balls based on different types of roll patterns, based on different types of oil patterns, based on different looks in the lane. And this is really it's a guide for you. It's also a guide for the average bowler that he can look at it and go, okay, this is kind of what I would like to see, but ultimately you're the ones that need to decide what works best for that player. Because what we say here might not be exactly what would be beneficial. In his mind he thinks I need to drill this layout, and you look at the player and go, no, this would be a better layout for you.
Then it's time for you to explain to them why the 4x4 for them doesn't look like the picture.
Right.
Yep, then the education part begins.
Okay, so does everybody understand the asymmetric drilling instructions? If you don't, feel free to stop by and after we're done today, and we'll sit down and talk about it a little bit. We'll put some lines on some bowling balls if you'd like. Okay?
And we have great tech support too, up at Storm as well. If you have any issues or questions laying out a ball, feel free to call us. Or we also have through the web address, we've got the email and the phone contacts. You have another support option there.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've got a good bunch of people. So we'll go through the drilling instructions here, and then the last one we're going to talk about today is the Pluto. Now, the Planet series of bowling balls from Roto Grip is probably by far the best-selling series in the industry. It is a very unique price point. It comes to you in between, say like the Scouts and the Grooves and stuff from other companies, and the next step up like into the, say Jolts, or some other companies have Fire and Ice or some things like that. This is a unique line of equipment that kind of falls in between. The nicest thing about it, and when I get feedback from most everybody, and a lot of you have thrown these, hey, our staff member Chuck Groh joins us today, is that a lot of times people say this ball is more performance than the price tag. Many, many times. That's the biggest seller of this bowling ball. Is this ball? A lot of these Planet Series bowling balls have performed far beyond what many other balls at higher price points do. So it's an easy sell for a lot of pro shops, is that you get that customer, and a lot of times customers come into the pro shop, and they have a little thing in their mind that they know how much they want to spend. They know what's in their bank account. They know what's in their back pocket. They know about what they want to spend. So many times when you might want to go, hey, here's what I think you should get today, they're going to go, I kind of had a more of a $150 price range in mind. That's where the Planet Series always is a great sell, because you get a tremendous amount of performance at a price that's a lot of times percentages less than some of the other products out there. And I've actually had some people complain to me about this product line, that you sell it too cheap. I said, you can sell it for whatever you want to sell it for. This is where we designed it. But there's guys that sell these balls for $170, $180. When, suggested retail around $140 probably. So it's a true two-piece construction. If we'll go to the next slide. Basics, real basics. 261 RG, and a differential of about 20. But the biggest thing about this, and I've always heard this, and I still firmly believe it to this day, numbers aren't everything. It says it's a high RG of 261 and a differential of 20. You'd say those numbers, that ball's not going to hook a lot. It's not a lot to that ball. But shape is deceptive. Bottom line is you got a tremendous amount of mass closest to the equator. So as we spin an object, and when you spin a top, the more mass, it rights itself quicker. There's more mass. It'll stand faster. Same thing holds true to that Pluto. Many, many people will say it rolls and it acts like it has a lot stronger core in it than you'd think. So once again, it's very deceptive. Same core as the Neptune that we released last year. Very, very good pearlized reactive ball for those medium or drier patterns. The Pluto is that great first step up for a lot of those players that have gone from a polyester ball, or a player that has fights a little bit with the over and under reaction that he gets out of some of his bowling balls. Solid reactive gives him a little bit more, next slide, gives him a little bit more control and plenty of change of direction. Heavy-handed player who likes to go after it a lot, blends the lane out a little bit for him too. Now the cell is going to blend a lot of that out just because, like I said, it's the new technology, but the Pluto is going to strictly do it by the numbers. It doesn't have a tremendous amount of differential, so it's not going to change directions too much. So it gives us a lot more control. I'll go to the next one. So these balls have, once again, from history, from the start of the Sonic series, I've always tried to create a product that was more easily sold in the pro shops. This is strictly a price point bowling ball. Trying to get it in there to you at a competitive price that the performance far exceeds the dollar number. Many, many people say, wow, this ball outhooks some of my other $200 bowling balls. Just because, once again, it's a good cover stock. Sure Grip 2 cover stock has been a great cover stock. And then this new, we just changed to the Orbiter 2 core. It is just a price point that continues to sell. Okay, does anybody have any questions about a Pluto? Anyone? Okay. The last thing we'll talk a little bit about today are the ball reaction charts. Now these are found on the website. They're found at rotogrip.com. So if you can check them out on the website later today or whenever you want. But it's a nice tool for you to have. A lot of guys will make a copy of them, put them up on the wall in their pro shop, and it gives them a nice overview. Because we have 3 different styles of players that we use based on a stroker, a tweener, and a cranker on a standard house pattern. And we try to utilize the cats